It's time for you to start respecting yourself. It's time for you to start using the word. As a matter of fact, it's time for you to learn the word no and start using it consistently and meaning it when you say it. It is time for you to stop accepting toxic behaviors from others as well as yourself. And I want to focus on the self part right now because most of us view the world or the external as being the issue. We believe that somebody out there is doing things to us, that we are the victim of circumstance, we're the victim of life. And, sometimes it may seem that way. I get it completely. I completely understand the feeling that things are happening to you as opposed to through you, for you, and by you. But once I started to see life as a mirror, life as a reflection of the very person that I am being, once I started to be honest about that reality of life, it empowered me in ways that I cannot describe to you in this video alone. I might have to make just an entire series. I could preach the paint off these walls just talking about that subject matter right there. But what I wanted to get into is respecting yourself and the power of self-respect. And also what happens when you neglect that respect within yourself. When you live out of integrity, when you live out of dignity, when you live in a state where you are perpetually and consistently disrespecting yourself, first mentally and emotionally, then physically, I promise you, you will continue to attract to yourself disrespect in every shape and form. I promise you that. The people stepping into your life cannot disrespect you unless you are allowing them to. And the ones who do disrespect you and you keep letting into your life, knowing their character, knowing their true colors, the reason why you continue to let them in to disrespect you is because you are so used to disrespecting yourself first. You are so used to that chaotic energy that you were probably raised on, that you probably learned at some time in your adolescence, that was programmed into you. And now you've become so addicted, so obsessed with getting a fix, getting another hit of that toxicity, that you are willing to stay in that space of being disrespected and disrespecting yourself. Now, I don't have to make this video a long video because it's a straight to the point video. And it's one of those messages where I truly just want you to take it as food for thought, but also to apply it, right? Like, I don't have to give you theory. I don't have to give you what's in a book. I don't have to give you Tony Robbins right now. This ain't for inspiration or motivation. This is real talk, straight talk. This is your best friend talking to you, the best friend that actually cares about you, the one who would drive all the way to Minnesota to pick you up and you would do the exact same for them. This is who you're talking to right now, all right? Unless you live in Minnesota, then somewhere real far out your state, right? If you are catching yourself or finding yourself in a place where you continue to be disrespected by the individuals around you, I need you to do this right now at this very moment. Take audit, which means take account or become aware of the ways in which you have been disrespecting yourself. It won't be easy sometimes. Like, when I first came to terms with the fact that, the appreciation I wasn't getting from others actually stemmed from me never appreciating myself, never giving myself that actual self-validation. When I came to realize that, at first, it hurt a little bit. Because it was easier to blame other people for not appreciating me than it was to say, man, I'm the one who is actually bringing more of that energy into my experience and therefore accepting more of that energy, right? Because we can attract all these individuals, but if we have enough self-respect, we will also repel those individuals. And if you think about it, let's say we talk about an individual who is classified as a narcissist, right? That narcissist isn't going to meet 7.8 billion people on the planet. But if you find yourself always meeting somebody with those exact character traits, those exact psychopathies or whatever they want to call it at this point in time, if you continue to meet somebody who is classified as a narcissist, you have to start asking yourself, why am I attracting them all? And why am I letting them into my experience when my best friend or somebody I know or somebody I don't know is not attracting a single one of them or is not allowing a single one of them into the experience? Like, that has to come a real question. Who is the common denominator in this situation? And when you start getting very real with yourself, when you truly start to take audit, and you do so without any type of agenda to, kind of soothe yourself in just that moment, and you just face that truth, you will start to see that common denominator, that person who is always showing up in the equation, is ourselves, is you in your life and me in mine. You and your experience and me and mine. And if that is the case, then we can ask the question, why? Once we come to terms with I am the common denominator, then we can say why. I'm not talking about blaming or shaming. A lot of people don't, they don't like to hear this message because they think that it's blaming and it's shaming and it's, victim blaming, etc. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm not talking about somebody gets victimized and saying it's your fault. That's not what I'm on. What I'm saying is we have to look at our lives and say, why are we attracting the same type of person? Because only then can we look at the wounds that are unhealed, the suppressed and repressed emotions that we continue to perpetuate, the addictions that we have underneath the surface that are continuously bringing us into the same experiences that we say we do not desire, yet we continue to welcome into our own life experience. There has to be a point where we come to terms with ourselves, and after that, we can ask the question, why? And once we ask why, the answer will always show up. I promise you that. When we ask ourselves, why am I bringing these people in? At first, you may think, well, I'm not good enough, I'm not this. Those are lies, but it's still a program, and there's still answers within there for you. You can start to see that you don't feel like you deserve better relationships. You don't feel like you deserve better friendships. You feel as if you deserve to be abused, or you deserve to be lowly, or you deserve to be drained, and you have to prove your worth through your doing. Like, you will start to see answers come up. And when you can look at those answers, then you can find a solution. And then you can start to see that I have been allowing disrespect because I have been disrespecting myself. And that admission in and of itself is not a place we want to stay, obviously, but it is absolutely powerful. It is transcendent for anyone who gets to that place genuinely. Because once you're in that place, you will say to yourself, why would I put up with my own disrespect? Right? We've probably already said, why am I putting up with somebody else's disrespect? But then we find ourselves back in a cycle. But once we say, why am I putting up with my own disrespect? Then we can't look to anybody else. We can't point any fingers. We can't run from somebody, block somebody on Facebook, whatever. It's us now. It's us and us. And yes, they may sometimes be shame connected to that. And if we do find ourselves coming to a space where we feel that shame, it is only showing us that there was underlying shame that we need to start doing the work upon, that we need to start acknowledging, start accepting, not accepting as saying this is a part of who I am, right? This is always going to be a part of me, but saying that this far in my old story, this far in my life experience, I have been harboring shame. I felt as if I'm not good enough, I'm broken, I'm not worthy. And those beliefs, first and foremost, are not truth. I promise you that right now, and I would tell you, period. You will always hear this from me. Those are lies. Those are deceptions that have been planted into you. And those are not your friends. Those messages are not your friends, and they're not your thoughts. You weren't a baby with those thoughts. You were a baby and you were born into perfection. I don't care what anybody tells you out of any book. I don't care what they say to you. You were born in that perfect space, in that perfect place, and these ideas were programmed into you by the individuals around you. And this ain't to place blame on them. It's to only bring the power back and say, you have now the power to change that story. And so in this video, I wasn't going to go too in depth about how to change this and transform this. There'll be a multitude of pieces of content that I will go deep in dealing with this. And also, I have a one-on-one coaching where I actually go individualized, because I can't individualize any video. I can only speak from my experience, sometimes the experience of, my clients and students, etc. But usually I just go directly to the thing itself. So if you are somebody who's looking for one-on-one coaching, make sure to book a session with me by going into the description below or the caption below, depending on where this video is housed. Click on that link. Go and book your time, a time that works for me, it works for you. And let's get to it. Let's get to actually doing the work instead of sitting back and allowing ourselves to disrespect ourselves and to find ourselves in that perpetual cycle of disrespect. I love you. I appreciate you. Peace.